Welcome to the Puffyfoot Diaries,
Oh no.
a new podcast.
Dylan has one puffy foot. I'm telling him,
Go
to the doctor right away.
I hope I am not have to do that.
Tomorrow.
No,
Yep.
I don't have a doctor. I don't want to go.
Go to any doctor. They have doctors that are take care. Yep.
I'm
hey,
tired.
Speaking of going to the doctor, speaking of things that might go wrong, we're talking about a certain family today, an American family. You might call them American royalty. You might call them an American dynasty. What else might you call them?
It's fancy normals.
It's fancy. What makes them fancy?
They're fancy. Their blood is blue.
Their blood is blue. Izzy, who are we talking about? Put the listener out of their misery.
The Kennedys.
The Kennedys. What do you guys know about the Kennedys?
They're political.
Yeah.
They're rich.
Yes.
They got those weird accents.
Yeah. Why?
They're hiding.
Wait, they're hiding?
They're hiding the women.
I mean, why? Oh, they are. They're hiding the women.
Funny haircuts. They got those funny. They look like they're wet a lot, but they're not wet.
You're talking about because it was the 40s and 50s, and men had Brillo cream in their hair.
Sure. Is that why they're wet? I just figured that they always kind of miss themselves before the photos are taken.
Maybe they're like, I just got out of the harbor. Maybe they just got out of the harbor.
They got that cool accent that I love.
You love that accent?
Always sailing.
Yeah, that's true. That they are.
Dylan, does that appeal to you?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'm finding out I have a lot in common with these folks.
Yeah. Everyone knows who the Kennedys are. They're Camelot. You guys know what Camelot is? Like when people talk about the Kennedys, they say Camelot. It's like that. I don't really understand why. Maybe it's something I should have looked up before we did this episode. People are always like, yeah, Camelot.
I kind of thought it was like an acronym.
Spam-a-lot.
You know about Spam-a-lot? Because of your experience living in New York City?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. In the theater.
What
is Camelot? I mean, what is Spam-a-lot?
It's a musical. It's based on the Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh.
And I have tried out for it 3 times, and I have never gotten a callback. No, in the local off-Broadway productions.
Oh, yeah. Playing the role of...
I want to do King Arthur.
Skid.
But I guess my accent isn't convincing, and I'm not right for the part.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe if you talk more like the Kennedys. Camelot...
Let's hear your Kennedy accent.
Your Kennedy. Camelot apparently refers to JFK's administration.
Go Pats.
Oh, nice.
Camelot. His administration.
I think it's like the sort of Kennedy era is referred to as Camelot.
Because he had a round table full of advisors that were his knights.
I guess.
Because they were looking for something the whole time. I don't know.
Yeah, what was he looking for? A blowjob?
Hey, he was one of the best presidents ever, and not just because his head blew up. Other reasons, too.
Yeah? What are some of your favorite JFK moments? Dylan, you're a scholar of history.
Yeah, I like when he went to China for the first time.
What'd he do?
American president. He opened up trade with China.
Oh, he was not for his first time, but for the first time that a president...
Yeah, first time... No, I'm just kidding. That was Nixon.
Nice.
He
was young?
He did...
Young?
He was young.
Yeah,
young guy.
His wife was hot.
Yeah. She's actually...
He had some crazy ideas.
She's a remarkably strange-looking woman, in a way that I do think is, beautiful, but she's really weird looking. If you look at Jackie O up close...
I like his dog. He had a dog named Checkers. It was a cute black and white dog.
Oh, that's cute.
Psych, that was also Nixon.
Damn! This is a Backdoor Nixon podcast.
I'm a Nixon head. What can I say?
Didn't he lose that debate against Kennedy because he got so sweaty?
Well,
the first televised debate.
Yes, and also he apparently had some kind of a hair growth condition. He
always had a 5
hair.
o'clock shadow. Yeah.
Yes, he grew facial hair so fast that they shaved him right before he went out on stage, and by the end of the debate, he was sweaty and he had a visible 5 o'clock shadow.
That's like really powerful and
Wow.
masculine. I like that.
I know, yeah. Nixon was like the last good president.
You know what Jackie O looks like? She looks like Splice. Her eyes are so far apart. They should have Anya Taylor-Joy Splice pay her. I think she's beautiful too. I'm just saying she's like very weird looking, which is a plus to me. But like her eyes are fully on the side of her head, like Splice.
I respect a sweaty king.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out Richard Nixon.
Shout out Richard Nixon.
We're going to talk today about some of the alleged Kennedy crimes, misdemeanors, maimings, murders alleged of women, manslaughters.
Oh.
A lot of chicks in the radius of the Kennedys who met a bad end, is all I'm saying. And we're going to start strong with the Chappaquiddick incident, starring Dylan's favorite Kennedy, Ted.
Ted. Yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, tell us about when you saw him.
Yeah, during the I don't know if you remember President Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Heard of him.
During the 2008 presidential campaign, Barack Obama gave a what do you call it?
Speech
at a local something, and this is a important speech because he was getting the endorsement of Ted Kennedy.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a bigger deal or whatever than a normal speech.
Mm-hmm.
And they were appearing together, and my parents wanted to go, and they offered to let me not go to school that day if I went with them to see Ted Kennedy and Barack Obama speak. And I did, and it was great, and my mom's hair was on CNN.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
She has distinctive hair.
I remember when Barack Obama came to Soma, and we all, like, gave him high fives.
He like, went into Nick's and then came out and, like, turned the corner kind of where Soma was, and we touched his hands.
Yeah, we were like, whoa.
Yeah.
That's so cool. You touched his hands?
We touched his hands. Izzy has a Polaroid of him.
We're all like, whoa, yeah.
Izzy has a Polaroid of him that would probably sell for, like, a lot of money. If she can find it.
Find that. Find that. I think I know what notebook it's in.
You could absolutely sell that, like, on eBay or something.
A photo of a Polaroid of him?
Yeah, you have an original photograph of President Barack Hussein Obama. Absolutely, that would sell for money.
He's kind of the modern day Kennedy.
In what way? I don't know. How much?
He's young. He's progressive.
True.
You know.
Yeah, like it was cool to like him if you were a young person.
He had a lot of haters, you know, undeservedly so.
Mm-hmm.
You know, of course. Yeah, you know, I mean.
All right, so Ted Kennedy, the lesser Ted K to me, he was the Massachusetts senator, the senator from Massachusetts for 47 years. Almost 47 years.
The lion of the Senate.
The lion.
The lion of Nantucket.
Yeah, you want to hear about some lion from Ted Kennedy?
Come on. Have some respect for the dead. That's all I ask.
So 1969, Senator Ted Kennedy, the brother of Robert F. Kennedy, the brother of John F. Kennedy, was drunk. He was drunk. He was at a party. He left the party. He was on an island in Massachusetts called Chappaquiddick. Okay, if you say so.
Chappaquiddick. That's a fun island
in their
name.
accent.
Chappaquiddick. It's a
Chappaquiddick.
Fun name for a horrible tragedy to be named after, because it sounds so.
It overshadows the tragedy because the name's so funny.
It's just so fun to say. That's why people still know about it. Okay, so Ted left a party with a woman in his passenger seat of his car named Mary Jo Kopechne. She knew him because she had worked on his senatorial campaign. And then seemingly pretty soon after that, he drove his car right off a bridge and into what is called a pond. But when I looked, I was like, that's a big ass body of water. Like, that's a lake. Maybe it's a pond because it's shallow. I know we've talked about what defines any given body of water before. But to me, a pond is like, you know, I don't know, smaller than a football field. This is definitely bigger than that. If you look at our Discord, there's a picture of the bridge, which is very small and narrow and has no guardrails. And then the alleged pond in question. Give that thing a look. Imagine a drunk man, and of course we cannot prove that he was drunk. Allegedly.
He wasn't. He wouldn't.
He wouldn't. Okay. Just so everyone remember that Dylan said he wouldn't.
I don't think he would. He seemed so nice in person.
So then, after he drove his car into the pond, he swam to shore, and his passenger, Mary Jo Chappaquiddick, drowned. She died. This happened somewhere between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. That's a little unclear. Depends on who you ask, Ted or others. And Ted did not report this to the police until 10 a.m. the next day. Now, he says, I was being a gallant and normal man. I was giving Mary Jo a ride back to her hotel. What's the problem? My car went to a pond. He says he tried to swim back and rescue her 7 or 8 times. And it is worth noting his car was not very far underwater. Like, I posted a picture of it. You can see it's like right down there. It was a shallow pond. So I guess 7 or 8 times is not like totally inconceivable that he might have done that. And then he said that he gave up and he walked back to the party. And then he asked his cousin and his cousin's friend to help him go and try to rescue her again. And he didn't tell anyone at the party because he didn't want to upset any of the ladies or alarm anybody and have them jump in the pond and accidentally drown themselves, you know. He's being a cool and normal guy. Yeah. And then he said after his friends came and also tried to rescue her and couldn't, they gave up.
Makes sense, yeah. Makes sense to me.
Later he said that his doctor told him that he had something called a cerebral concussion, which cerebral is like your brain. So I guess that just means a normal concussion. And that he was in shock. Which naturally would explain what I'm going to tell you next. A couple things that should be noted about the Chappaquiddick incident. He passed quite a few houses on the way back to the party, all of which he claimed had their lights off. So he's like, well, I didn't want to go in and use their phones to call 911 because they, I thought everyone was asleep. Although some of the residents have been like, that's not true. I was up. My lights were on. It also seems like maybe he left the party around 11. And he says the crash happened like right after that. Like they left the party. He drove over the bridge. The car crashed. There was a cop who saw his car seemingly closer to like 12:40. So there's possibly some unexplained time in between when they left and when the car went into the pond. Something else worth noting is that Ted and his cousin and his cousin's friend were all lawyers. Just guys talking about how to save a woman.
Well, they're all lawyers, right?
They are all lawyers. All politicians are lawyers. Whether they're lawyers or not, they are.
A lot of them are,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're a guy, you're a lawyer. If you're a girl, then you're a boiler girl.
A boiler girl.
That's who they
a boiler girl?
Yeah.
Girls who are working on the campaign.
Yeah. So eventually Ted swam back across the channel to his hotel room. I don't understand. I've never been able to understand why he swam. Like, he was with his lawyer friends.
Because he missed the ferry.
Yeah, because it's late. But, like, he was with friends who had cars.
But you can't... The ferry ferries your car.
I see. So there were no bridges that went... See, I'm so unfamiliar with island culture.
Yeah, he swam across the channel to go to the hotel room after it killed
Yeah, the
someone.
Kennedys are famously good swimmers because of the sailing. Yeah.
Yeah, all the sailing and sort of like corn blue color wearing.
And Ted was like a jock. He didn't get very good grades, but he was really good at football. So he probably had like great lung capacity.
What a special guy, What a great life. Well, this is. I mean, what are you implying here, Sarah? Are you?
All right. So after he swam back across the channel, he went to his hotel room. He put on some clean clothes. He had like several documented, extremely normal conversations with people where he seemed like nothing was wrong.
Like what kind of conversation?
Like about the regatta or whatever.
What in the hell?
Yeah, I know.
Is that a boat thing too?
It's a boat. Regatta is a boat thing, but I'm not sure what. I think it's a boat race. I think it's
God.
What rowing? I think it's rowing. I think it's a rowing race.
Dylan is rowing.
Yeah, a regatta is yes, it is a rowing boat race.
Sounds like a kind of Italian pasta.
Yeah,
regatta. It's big on the East Coast. It's that's like it's like, imagine a canoe that's very long, and you've got you got 6 or so people in there. You got a coxswain. You got a coxswain.
And that's what they ride around in Italy, right?
No, that's a gondola, right?
Yeah, but they row that. What's the difference?
Yeah, row that.
That's like a little raft with a pole, right? They're
very beautiful, Dylan. They're lacquered.
Yeah, Dylan, you're saying they're not beautiful?
No, yeah, it's like is it a
raft?
Yeah, it's like some, I don't know. It seems,
way to insult the people of Italy who have been through enough.
This is different. You got people on either side of this canoe with oars, and they're rowing it in sync. And then there's a small person, like the shortest person, one of your friends, sits on the end of the boat.
Me?
And
You'd make me be on the end of the boat?
Yeah, you would be the coxswain.
The maidenhead.
Coxswain.
I do not consent to be the coxswain.
You would be sitting on the end of the boat going, row, row, row.
You're telling me there's somebody on a regatta team whose job is to tell the guys who are rowing to row?
Yes, it's to keep everybody. The conductor is
they can't
everybody
row?
on rhythm.
Why not just have a metronome do it?
It's about doing it in perfect unison. They've got a whole little guy up there who's
that's like
out.
The guy who's like the friend. Like if it were football, he'd be like the team manager.
No, it's a legitimate art form. It's more like a jockey.
It's an art form.
Or
it's like tar.
Like tar, yeah. It's like tar.
Yeah. My mom is on a rowing team.
God.
Currently? Wow.
My mom.
So empowering for women.
It is.
They must not know her maiden name. Oh no, she uses her maiden name. How did they let her in?
What do you mean?
Because she's from Southern Indiana.
It's it's in Lake Lemon.
That shouldn't be allowed.
It's a rowing team for women over 60.
And
in the Southern Indiana area.
Is your mom the coxswain?
No, my mom is like 6 feet tall. My mom is a rower.
Who's the coxswain?
I don't know. Presumably a smaller woman.
I'd like to
Mom,
meet
if
her.
you're listening, I know you're 5'11". I know you're not 6 feet tall. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen. So Ted Kennedy, totally unrelated to him not telling anyone about this accident, the body and the car were found at 8 a.m. and Ted turned himself in at 10. And it's not because they found the body and the car anyway. And he certainly would have turned himself in no matter what, even if they hadn't found those things, of course. Certainly he wasn't worried about the fact that probably he was drunk as hell and had to wait to sober up. Also, he was married with a pregnant wife, also in public office and angling to run for president, which did not happen after this.
That's so sad.
Yeah, that is just so sad.
He would have been the George W. Bush of Kennedys,
he was
kind of
great.
A dumb jock who's like only there because his family is smarter than him.
That's not fair. He did a lot of great work in the Senate. He was a big champion of Obamacare, which we all love so much. Obamacare is going to fix my puffy foot.
Yeah, probably not
tomorrow.
Probably
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to the doctor.
You gotta go.
No, it doesn't matter what happens. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you gotta go.
I don't want a guy to see my feet.
I'd come. I'd make you go. If I were in Kentucky, I'd drive you to the doctor.
I can't have anybody seeing these feet. These feet are VIP only.
Private.
A doctor is, by definition, a very important person.
Not to me. But anyway, this isn't about that. This is about Ted Kennedy, who did a lot of great work on healthcare in the Senate. Really, pro-labor guy. Really a wonderful tenure in the Senate. And of course, this Chappaquiddick was a tragic accident that. Of course, yeah. if there's
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to say. It's incredibly sad, and I'm sure he regretted it every day of his esteemed life. And
wasn't he like famously a fucking lout and drunk all day in the Senate all the time and like falling asleep and shit constantly?
Okay, no.
Okay, so Mary Jo Kopechne, there was no autopsy. Controversially, her blood alcohol content was very, very high.
You think he poisoned her and then drove her off a bridge?
No, I think they were probably both incredibly wasted and probably like going to fool around in his car somewhere, and that accounts for the big time gap.
Who cares, though? I mean, does it change the circumstances of what happened? It's equally sad.
So even though her cause of death is officially drowning, the guy who recovered her body said it looked like she maybe had suffocated. She had rigor mortis. She was found in the back of the car in a posture that suggested maybe she had been breathing in air, like from an air bubble, because that part of the car was also dry. So, almost definitely would have lived, had time. It takes a while to suffocate to death, because the carbon monoxide, air bubble. She could have been alive for a while. Probably would have lived if she had been rescued sooner.
Oh shit! So she didn't like drown. She like
it's disputed.
Wasn't an air pocket.
Officially, she drowned. The coroner said she drowned. This is just the opinion of the guy who took her body out of the car.
And who'd he vote for in 1960?
I mean, like with all stories of the Kennedys, the question ultimately is like, who was on the take here?
Yeah.
Who was getting that Papa Joe cash? Because they had a scary daddy.
Yeah, Eustace Kennedy.
His name was Joe.
Oh,
wasn't it Joe?
I don't know.
His name was not Eustace.
I took a guess. Don't
famously
tear me
Joe.
apart because I just took a guess.
Just like Michael Jackson's dad. Cannot trust Joes in this life.
Eustace. Caroline was at the Obama speech too. That was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Caroline was
one of the
sweet Caroline fame.
Man, that was only
maybe
one of the only. I've only been on TV twice, and that was one of them.
What was the other time? Tell us about the other time you're on
TV.
I don't actually know. I'm just assuming it's something you're not going to want to tell us.
Okay, I went to a Major League Soccer game, but I was bored, so I took a whole gummy before the Major League Soccer game, and I didn't expect... It was the first time I had taken one of these gummies, and it hit me a lot harder. And then the group of people I was with, we were freaking out during a penalty kick sort of scenario, and I was screaming, "Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, what's happening? Oh no, oh no, oh no," at the top of my lungs. And then they scored the penalty kick and the lights all went purple and there was smoke and fireworks happening. And I was just going, ah! I was just screaming at the top of my lungs and looking at the sky. And then that was on ESPN2.
Nice. This man needs to be on television. I believe it.
It's true. Good luck finding it. I've never found it.
Someone look in the archive.
I never found it. Yeah, I mean, I'm in there somewhere. I won't say which game.
There. When they finally make the I can't even make a joke about this because I don't remember the name of the show. The show where it's in hard-hitting sports docs, and they did OJ, and they did Tanya Harding probably. I keep wanting to say 33 and a
30
third.
for 30.
30 for 30.
ESPN 30 for 30.
Yeah, you're going to be in that one, Dylan.
Yeah.
The one on Major League Soccer.
Yeah. I was accidentally wearing the colors of the other team too.
Nice.
Because I just wore gray pants and a navy shirt and a red hoodie, which gray, navy, and red were the colors of the other team. I did not know that in advance, and I just didn't have anything purple because who makes their team color purple?
Yeah.
Who owns a purple thing?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't. I don't own anything purple.
I have a purple, not to get blue here, but I do own a purple bra. That's
about
it.
I was just
what?
gifted a purple hoodie.
Oh, okay. Your Highness.
Do you think Did they play sports? It seems like they wouldn't have been allowed to play sports.
The Kennedys?
Yeah.
Yes, of course they played sports.
So they probably played sports.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry.
Like, is that not a definitive trait?
You said they probably wouldn't be allowed to play sports, and I was like, well, they wouldn't be allowed to go in the army by that logic.
Did they go in the army?
Yeah, JFK was in the army. He had like horrible injuries from a plane crash that affected him his entire life. He was like in constant pain from like nerve damage.
Damn.
And he had like weird diseases too. That was a man who was like always on like speed and roids. One of the theories about why he was so horny is because he was always on like medical testosterone. I think he was probably just horny.
Pain.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for him. I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about Rosemary. Wait, any final thoughts on the Chappaquiddick incident?
I can't imagine being the kind of person who wouldn't do something.
Yeah.
That's really crazy.
Yeah. I wish she had just called the police or EMS.
Or told, like, the gals.
Yeah, or
Done
whatever.
anything.
Just been truthful.
A mutual aid network, whatever, I know not that he doesn't have to call the cops, but like I wish he had tried to get some like mutual aid resources activated in his community.
Yeah, for sure.
Peer support.
I think
a winch, maybe a mutual aid winch. Someone on the group owns a winch.
I don't think he wanted to kill the lady. I think that's a very dumbass way to kill someone.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to kill the lady.
Yeah.
I think he was grossly negligent.
I think it's a tragic accident that I'm sure haunted the man his entire life, and I don't think that, I mean, yeah, we can be upset, but I just, he just seemed like such a nice guy, and when he spoke and then Caroline Kennedy spoke, and that was so nice.
So let's talk about one of their other siblings, Rosemary. She's one of the Kennedy siblings, one of the 8. Is it 8?
Yeah.
8 siblings. Oh, shitloads of a Catholic number of children. Old Rosemary was lobotomized at age 23 on her father's orders. So there's more and more information has come out about this, like since it kind of first became public knowledge, which happened pretty late. There was kind of initially like a lot of debate about whether or not she was developmentally delayed or not. She, like, some people will say, like, well, people just thought that because, like, her whole family was so smart and she was normal. That does not seem to be true. It seems like she had a birth injury, was oxygen deprived at birth because of, like, terrible medical practices involving not letting a woman who's trying to have a baby push because the doctor's not there yet. So she's probably, like, probably had brain damage, like, from her birth. She was very late with, like, normal milestones developmentally, like didn't walk until super late, struggled to learn how to read and write.
But she could have been normal, so she's a little late, whatever.
I think she was like more than a little late. I think it was like, oh, you have like a global delay. Some kids are like, yeah, they're like normal pretty much, but then there's like 1 or 2 things they can't do. They do really late, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, like people are weird. People develop all kinds of ways, but if a kid like is delayed in every possible respect, it's like probably a sign that maybe there's some kind of like developmental or cognitive thing going on. And that seems to have been the case with her. This was all kept incredibly secret, like super secret. Other family members did not know any of this. And also, it's, like, hard exactly to tell what was going on with her, like, the extent of the delay, because it was so secretive. And then there is, like, maybe some truth to the idea that she seemed more behind than she even was, because the Kennedy kids were, like, famously very precocious children. So she probably did seem, like, particularly slow compared to the little, like, star students that her siblings were. When she was like 15, she did all the debutante stuff. You know about that stuff.
Yeah.
You guys have seen the OC. You know about that stuff.
Did you guys do any of that?
My mother was supposed to, but she was like, absolutely fucking not, and she didn't.
I think Emma was a deb. Emma
Really?
went to Cotillion. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in like fancy circles for any reason, you might be involved in that kind of activity.
Yeah, she knows Larry Bird's kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
In Indiana, that's a big deal. Look it up, Canadians. Who that is?
Did Canadians
Larry Bird.
not know who Larry Bird is?
There is no way. They don't even know they don't know basketball.
Yeah, probably not. The hick from French Lick.
He was a monster.
He's from French Lick?
Yeah, famously. He went to IU for like half a semester and was like, I cannot hang, this is too big of a city.
Apparently
I think he went to like,
Wow.
I don't know, like IUPUI or something, or Purdue. Yeah, he went to Purdue.
Apparently he was the most vicious trash talker in the NBA
Yeah,
during that era,
I've heard this.
which is hilarious because
I
he's
love
such
that
like
fellow.
a goofy, Big Bird looking guy.
He is
Yeah.
like the definitive corn-faced man.
He is. He's a very corn-faced man. God love him. Rest his soul.
He's alive. He's alive, and people like him. They say he's nice.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah, I think he's like an okay dude.
Okay, I guessed. You gonna tear me apart for making a guess?
All right.
I guessed he was dead. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Rosemary at 15 was like doing the normal social stuff. Apparently she was like developmentally maybe about at age 9 or 10, but like socially, she could like go to parties and stuff. She's fine. What the fuck was that? Was that a cat?
Yeah. I held the microphone up to his face just to see if he would make a noise. I didn't think he would, but then he did.
I thought there was a little child with you.
No, it's a kitty. Hi,
Okay.
little guy. Okay, yeah.
What's the cat's name? Just tell me.
This is Tube.
Yeah, Tube. The cat that Izzy named.
Yeah, his real name is Bonkers.
No, it isn't.
Well, I heard him say Tube
Yeah,
when I asked what's his name, and I think my audio clipped.
Tube. Ask him again, Dylan.
And then
Put the mic up.
His Christian name is Bonkers. He jumped away.
It's Tube.
Bonk Johnson.
Okay. So, anyway, Rosemary's family was like ghostwriting quotes for her to give to newspapers. They were like, I wish to be a kindergarten teacher. Like fully keeping up this lie that she was like doing all the same stuff the other kids were doing.
She studied the Montessori method.
Yeah, apparently. She could not hardly read. But, yeah, maybe. She started acting in a way that they decided was like unmanageable kind of later in her early 20s. She was like sneaking out. Her parents were like, she'll get pregnant. She's seeing boys. She's having seizures, but it's not clear to me if like that was always happening or if that started happening. At any rate, they were like worried that, things were going wrong with her. This was in 1941. Lobotomies were like all the rage. I'm sure you guys know about this.
Oh, yeah.
Like any and all problems, behavioral problems, you needed the rest cure, whatever. You were like hysterical. You broke rules and stuff. You just go ahead and have an ice pick lobotomy, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Yep.
Most of them they would do through your eyeball holes. Hers was done through the top of the skull. And of course they, horribly scrambled her brain. This is not true of everyone who had a lobotomy. Some people are like, they have some issues, but they're pretty much normal. They're like different, but they're, they can function fine. She could not. She couldn't like talk or walk. It like totally scrambled her brains. This, of course, like everything else about her, was kept super, super secret. She was institutionalized for the rest of her life. Her mom didn't visit her for 20 years. Her father never visited her. And her siblings did not know where she was. Like, no one told them.
Damn, that's horrifying.
Which really begs the question, like, what did they think was going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How could it be, like, decades, and they're just like, yeah, Rosemary's like not around anymore. I mean, she was like she wasn't living at the family house before. She was like at a Catholic boarding school being taught by nuns. So maybe it didn't seem like, she's already away, but like they just stopped talking about her. I mean, you know, it used to be pretty normal to institutionalize your family members. Everyone told you that that's what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
But it would be so weird to have a sister who they were like suddenly it was just like, yeah, we don't know what happened to her.
Do you think that they are like, they just did it with like social stuff? You know, you think they were like, oh, she said that you were a big jerk. She said that you're looking fat, you know, or whatever. Like
put it past old Papa Joe.
And then you know, they're like, well, I uninvited her from Thanksgiving because she said that you you were catty and that you didn't like the family, that you didn't care about the family, or whatever.
Yeah. This is one of the ways in which they're most like an actual royal family, where like if someone has like defective blood or whatever, they just like hide them and pretend that they're dead, and they like live with a special nursemaid, and no one ever hears from them ever again.
Dude, my dad almost got a lobotomy.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Have I told you this story?
No.
In 1960 period, 1960 or 1959.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he was a little kid, and when he first went to school, he no, I think it was before. I think he was like a toddler. Like he couldn't talk really yet.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, having like, you know, like what they thought were seizures, and he was like not responding to like directions or whatever, and like was like behaving like super. No, he wasn't a toddler, because it was something about how he couldn't. Basically, like he was doing bad his first year in school, and it wasn't like following any directions, and would like, you know, collapse on the ground and stuff. And it got as far as a second opinion. Like they were like, went to a doctor, and they're like, yeah, we recommend a lobotomy for this like 5-year-old or whatever.
Yeah.
And then and then my grandpa was like, I think we should probably get a second opinion before we like schedule that surgery or whatever. But they took him to a second doctor, and they asked if my dad had ever had an eye exam. They gave him an eye exam. He was legally blind, and he was having like horrible migraine headaches from not being able to see anything. And yeah, was like handling him like a 5-year-old would. But yeah, that was a close call.
Oh my god.
Second opinion, yeah.
Yeah, a good thing to get.
Totally fine. You know.
It's a good illustration of why, like, you know, the cool new thing in medicine is maybe something you should be like, this is like really new. Maybe we should like, let it rock a little bit.
It is pretty insane how like they went from lobotomy to like bifocals in like a 20-minute span. Like that makes you think like, hey, maybe we should reconsider how easily we're prescribing this.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's insane.
Anything, especially where you're going into, I mean, they would take a thing that looked like a butter knife or an ice pick, and they would swirl it around your frontal lobe to scramble part of your brain.
Oh my god.
I'm trying not to make a gag noise for you listeners.
And they'd ask you questions until you started seeming incoherent, which frankly is too late.
Oh god.
Oh my god.
There are still medical lobotomies that happen, but it's like very rare, and it's for other reasons.
Yeah.
And it's like an absolute last possible, you know, that we have reached the end of the line of treatments, and this is what we have left kind of thing. Not
Sarah,
like,
you've once again made me nauseous.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's so horrible.
Anyway, after Rosemary's dad died, her siblings were told what happened to her, and they immediately were like, let's like bring her back. And I mean, she still lived in like a, you know, a care home, but she was like part of their lives again, and they visited her all the time, and she did regain the ability to walk. And when her sister Eunice created the Special Olympics, one of the reasons why was because of Rosemary.
Oh, I didn't know that.
She also lived to age 86, which is like pretty old for Kennedy.
Yeah.
All right. So far we've got Mary Jo, and we've got Rosemary, and next we have Marilyn Monroe.
Marmar?
Your friend? Are you guys
Marilyn Monroe.
Close terms? You could probably do a whole episode about this. I don't find Marilyn Monroe like particularly interesting as a cultural figure. I know some people like really do. Maybe as
you can't handle her at her worst.
Maybe as like a
She just seems like really devastating.
I know. I like when you like bimbos, you probably should like Marilyn Monroe, because she was like an early bimbo. And maybe if I watched more old movies, I would like understand what was so captivating about her or whatever. And I know that people love to be like, she was secretly smart, which I'm sure she was. I don't know. Yeah, there's something about it that just feels like tawdry and kind of boring to me. What do y'all know about the Marilyn Monroe Kennedy connection?
Nothing.
I know that they like.
Oh, she sang his birthday.
Happy birthday, Mr. President. I know they probably had an affair, right?
Yeah, probably. Like, it's definitely one of those things where it's like, well, no one can say what happened behind closed doors. Like, the only picture of them that exists together that at least that I could find, I think ever, is like at that birthday party. It's like a public event, and it's like her whole face and then the side of his face. But it seems like they certainly were like spending time alone together. It seemed like they probably had an affair. The official story of her death is like, things were not going well for her in her career. She had been like fired from a movie, and there were all these rumors, like her studio was floating all these rumors that like it was her fault that the movie got canceled and she was delaying production. And that does seem to have been like, she had real serious problems, like emotional problems and substance abuse problems and depression and like all this and that. Her life was kind of seemingly taking a bit of a downturn, but not long before she died, she sang happy birthday to the president. She was still like a huge culturally important figure. She hadn't gone like full Lindsay Lohan yet, but it was like coming, it seemed like, So the official story is that she like OD'd sometime in the night, and at 3:30 in the morning, her maid like woke up and was like, something's wrong. Something's wrong with Marilyn. I just sense it. And then she like woke up Marilyn's psychiatrist who was spending the night, and he found the body. And then the doctor came, and a coroner came and said, oh yeah, she died of a barbiturate overdose. And there's probably a suicide because she like, these were her normal prescriptions and she wouldn't have taken way too many of them by accident. So that's like, what everyone says happened. Her involvement with the Kennedy brothers, with JFK and RFK, is documented. There's like the singing thing. She, probably slept with JFK. Seems like maybe she also slept with RFK later. Again, not provable, not proven, but when you hear the rumors enough, it's kind of like, well, yeah, that tracks, right? So probably. She did definitely receive a phone call the night that she died from the actor Peter Lawford, who was like an early famous for being famous guy. Like technically he was an actor, but he was also just kind of like a celebrity.
What's his name?
Peter Lawford. You can Google him. He looks normal. He has that wet hair that Dylan was talking about.
Why so wet? Everybody's so wet. All the ladies are dry. All the guys are wet. What's going on?
The ladies are like, they have like kind of sometimes wet cheekbones and like wet around their eyes, but not the hair.
Yeah, but not the hair.
And mouths, of course. Mouths can be wet. Although I guess in the 40s and 50s, the mouths tended to be pretty matte.
Is it the pomade you're seeing, Dylan?
Well, wet? It's just it looks like they just went out in the rain for a little bit.
Shiny boys.
Yeah, what is that?
It's Brillo. It's Brill cream pomade. Like Izzy said the right word.
And we've like lost
Brillo
this technology now or something? Like what's going on with that?
Most people.
No, you could buy this at your local Sally Beauty for sure.
Yeah,
interesting.
Pomade.
Interesting. Maybe I should get pomade.
You could be a pomade guy.
I mean, a lot of
guys. Great pomade guy.
A lot of guys still use pomade. It's just that hair is like spikier and more textured now, so it doesn't look as uniformly like helmety.
You're telling me that hair is different than it was in the 1960s?
No, I think she's saying it's styled.
Yeah, I'm saying it's styled differently. Yeah.
Well, what if it's not styled at all?
Yeah.
Like, what would it?
What would it look like?
Yeah. What if it wasn't styled at all, but it was really wet?
You would look like a merman.
Okay.
I hated when Wet Look was back in. I think Wet Look is terrible.
I love Wet Look.
No, you don't. You just love being wet.
Feel the rain on your skin.
Yeah, wet look can look really bad.
Wet look makes everyone's heads look tiny because your hair adds volume.
Ugh.
When your
I'm
hair
so tired of these dry look girls. I'm tired of these dry look girls. Where my wet look boys at?
Wet look boys.
Wet look boys. Be kind to yourself.
No.
One love.
Dry off. Get a towel. Do that thing that a dog does.
One love.
Wet look boys. Be kind to yourself. One love.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Peter
Stay
Lawford.
misted.
What? Did you say same love?
I said stay misted.
You know who actually did look good with wet look hair was Patrick Swayze in the film Point Break.
He did.
Yeah, I will give you that. But you know what? It's salty wet is different.
Oh,
it has
you and your
natural
salt
texture.
sprays. Why can't you just let
texture.
people be wet? Why do you have to just why you gotta put salt or whatever in it? You gotta always get rid of the wet in the hair, you know?
What does he say to Bodhi? He's like, Bodhi. It's like, back off. Or no. It's what Bodhi says to War Child. What does he say to War Child in Point Break?
Just say back off, War Child.
Back off, War Child.
I think the funny part of the line is that's how you find out that the guy's name is War Child, and then you never hear that person's name again.
Yeah. That sounds right. Izzy, have you seen Point Break?
No.
So that's fucking stupid. That's wrong of you.
Do you think your 30s is too late to start going by something like War Child?
No.
All right. Good to know.
It's too late to be Bodhi, but it's not. It's never too late to be War Child.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love that.
What about Johnny Utah? That's a good name.
I think you gotta be... Johnny Utah is a good name.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta play football to be Johnny Utah, right?
Like how Johnny Utah was a football player?
Yeah, that's like a football player name.
Yeah, it does have that like Joe Burrow kind of charm.
You gotta be a quarterback, too. You can't be like a center tackle or whatever and be named Johnny Utah.
You think it's the QB type behavior?
Yeah, it's QB. That's QB vibes.
Yeah. What are some of the other names in the film Point Break?
Uh...
Gary Busey's character is named Angelo Papas.
Oh, yeah! What the fuck?
Why would... That seems like a blind casting decision.
Damn, I'm forgetting all of their names now. There's
Roach,
just like...
Bunker, Tone.
Oh, God, yeah. Toad?
Tone.
Tone, that's even
T-O-N-E,
better.
Tone.
Tone is really good. Bunker and Tone.
Yeah. But nothing quite like War Child.
Sarah, what would you change your name to?
Oh, well, Lori Petty in that movie is named, her name is Tyler Ann Endicott. I like that. It's like solid and practical. No one would be like, that's a fake name.
You would change your name to Tyler Ann Endicott?
No, not like literally that, but just like something like that, you know. I like the idea of just not, I mean, I have a name that like, it's cool because people can't pronounce it, so they don't say it, which I like. But it'd also be cool to have a name that's so anonymous that it just like no one notices it. You could really get away with more, you know.
What about like a bird name? Like
what?
Like
Titmouse.
Sandpiper.
Izzy and I invented a drink called the Sandpiper once.
Nice. What was in it?
Tone is played by Anthony Kiedis, by the way.
Ew, really?
Of RHCP fame. Yeah, he's the guy who gets his penis shot off in Point Break. You don't remember that?
No, I do remember that. I didn't know that was Anthony Kiedis.
That's Anthony Kiedis, yeah.
Did
you say that sucks?
Yeah, I mean a little bit. That like makes me like the movie just
there's like nothing more on brand for the movie Point Break than Anthony Kiedis being in there.
Did they exist in like 1996 or when 1994? Yeah, when was Point
that
Break?
movie is older than that? But yeah. Yes.
Yeah, wait, it's like 1991, right?
Yeah, do you know that that Anthony Kiedis, I found this out from our podfathers, Mike Adams and Jared Cheek of Unspoken Request, that Anthony Kiedis' dad is named Blackie Dammit.
What the fuck, man? Yeah. I hate that.
1991,
That's so cool.
Point Break. Catherine Bigelow, maker of my favorite, one of my favorite vampire movies, Near Dark. Survivor of the James Cameron marriage gulag.
It's not as good as Vampire Diaries, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they're just different, you know? Different vibes, different moods.
Yeah, she could never write Klaus.
I loved Klaus. Klaus is my favorite Vampire Diary.
Oh my god, he's so great. I love the hybrids because it's just so good that they're both.
We're supposed to be talking about.
Do they keep a diary on the show?
Elena does at the beginning, and then they like drop the conceit. It does not take them long to be like, nobody cares about this. Like, it's just an excuse to give her a voiceover.
Elena's my favorite character because I'm just like her.
Yeah, what do you and Elena have in common?
We both we both know a witch. We're both kind of just at all the stuff happening, even though there's no reason for us to be there.
Yeah,
I think that's true. I think like you know how like Elena is like always there, even though there's like not really a good reason for her to be there because she's like the.
It's because both the vampire brothers want to fuck her.
No, it's because
why she's there.
Also, okay, can I just? Is the message of that show like this? That show is creepy as fuck. Like,
say more.
Yeah. So it's about like a high school girl having in a love triangle with 250-year-old Civil War veterans.
Yeah. It's what every girl wants. Two hot guys fighting over her.
Two hot 150-year-olds fighting over her, and it's
centenarians fighting over her.
Not really addressed.
The disgusting brothers.
Because they're hot. Because they're played by hot 27-year-olds. It's like not. So it's the message of that show that like the age gap of 145 years or whatever is okay if the guys are hot.
Well, it's always a question with vampires, like, are they their chronological age, number of years they've lived, or are they frozen developmentally at the age where they were turned? Which really makes Twilight pretty interesting. Like, he's just really 17, like he's just 17, but for
what
a
about
long
all
time?
the people with like arrested brain development? Like, what if you stopped, like developing, brain-wise when you were 17 or whatever? Yeah. And then you aged and then you tried to, get with a high school girl. You go to prison for a very long time. Yeah. For the rest of your life. And I think that's what should happen with the Vampire Diaries guys.
Hey, Dylan, they're fucking vampires.
Yeah, it made me insane that no one thought this was creepy in the whole show. Like, it's just like
everyone in that should consider who like her friends are. It's like a witch, her brother is some kind of like whatever, he keeps dying. And the
only like person who's not like a thing, everyone's like a thing. Everyone's like a witch or a vampire or a werewolf or a hybrid.
Matt.
There's like
he's a werewolf.
Is Matt? Well, there's one guy in the earlier seasons who's normal.
Who's her blonde ex-boyfriend is just like a total civilian.
And then they keep like torturing him. Like horrible shit keeps happening to him.
Well, yeah.
Because he's
the
like
human
the normal
guy, so
one.
his like peril.
This sounds like Buffy.
Yeah, very much so.
I'm just saying that it's just like the message of the show seems to be that like pedophiles are okay if they're hot. That seems to be the message of the show.
Well, I mean, there is like a truth to the idea that like there is behavior that is considered more or less socially permissible subjectively, depending on how hot you think the person who's doing it to you is.
Yeah.
Or like whether it's wanted or not,
Sure, but I just think, 140-year age gap with someone who can't, consent is not. I'm just saying it here and now. Vampire Diaries is canceled.
Canceled.
But I like Alaric. He's my favorite because he doesn't take any bullshit.
Okay, listen. We are talking about the death of Marilyn Monroe. Sorry, I was not getting emotional. I was burping off mic. So she was talking on the phone to Peter Lawford, famous for being famous. Guess what else he was? He was the brother-in-law of the Kennedy boys. So, at the very least, she was talking to a Kennedy that day. So there's some later interviews that I think took place in the 80s, but were not released until like the 2010s sometime. Maryland's press secretary's widow, so take that, as you like, said that Marilyn died much earlier that evening. Some EMTs apparently confirmed this, said that she was still alive en route to the hospital. I don't really know what that means, but it is like, something's weird here.
That's when you die in the car.
Yes. Thank you, Dylan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
En route. Thanks. I never knew. It is definitely true that Robert F. Kennedy, who at that time was the Attorney General of the United States, flew to the LA airport in a helicopter to catch a flight around 2 or 3 a.m. on the night of her death. So that did happen. Could be unrelated. I don't know.
Yeah, what are you implying?
Why would he want to fly? Why would he do
What, do you
that?
think he poisoned her?
I didn't say fucking anything.
You think he flew over there to poison her?
Her maid, Eunice, said that he was at her house that day and they had a huge argument.
Oh, okay.
And some of her friends apparently told this interviewer, this guy who did these interviews in the 80s, that she told him she and RFK were going to get married. Which seems not true, because he was married and he was also having a political career. And I don't think leaving his wife, with whom he had children, to date a basically Lindsay Lohan would have gone over well for his political career. I imagine maybe if they were having sex and this is all true, it could be that she wanted to be his wife and he was like, no, you are my mistress. And, something happened and then she, died or something else. But either way, it seems like the Kennedys were like closer to that situation than they would have cared to admit.
Yeah, he poisoned her for sure, actually, now hearing the facts.
Mike could be.
Mike could have poisoned her, probably did.
And, her cause of death was like barbiturate overdose, stuff she was prescribed. But, again, like I said earlier, you got to ask yourself, who's on the take? Coroners, flippy floppy people.
Here's the thing, though. In-law, I don't think in-law is admissible as evidence because, one, I don't believe in in-laws.
Yeah.
And two, that's just personal. And two, the Kennedys famously have a lot of in-laws.
Lots, so many.
Chris Pratt, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Chris Pratt is
These
a Kennedy.
are Kennedys, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. All Kennedys.
All Kennedys in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just don't think we can count in-law Kennedys as Kennedys.
Lady
for the
from Curb Your
purposes
Enthusiasm.
Of poisoning. Yeah. Oh, yeah, her. Her.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Cheryl Hines.
We have two more women to talk about. I'm going to keep it brief. One of them, RFK Jr.'s second wife. His first wife was from Bloomington, Indiana. They got married in Bloomington, Indiana at the First Christian Church. There are pictures. I will send them to anyone who wants them. I did not know this. This is not like widely known information because the marriage was, not good. But I found those pictures by accident one day. I know all about this wedding now. His second wife hanged herself. So there's another one. Her name, also Mary. Final lady. This is, to me, the big one. This is the one that's like, why is this not incredibly famous? It's so creepy. Mary Pinchot Meyer, a lady who was having an affair with JFK. Have you all heard of this? It's a famous unsolved murder. Not that famous. It's a not famous enough unsolved murder. Mary Pinchot Meyer was like, she was a painter in D.C. She was a divorced gal. Her ex-husband, imagine it's the 60s, you're a divorced gal, you're a painter.
Sorry.
She's probably having a field.
Yeah,
I just never thought I'd hear you say gal.
A divorced gal. Jordan's mom always calls women. She's always like, she's a single gal, even like a woman who's 50 or 60.
Can you do it in an
I
accent?
love that.
A single gal. What?
Divorced
Jordan-
gal. Divorced. I can't do that accent.
Like a
Divorce.
She's a
gal.
divorced
Boston?
gal. Yeah, can you Boston divorced girl?
Divorced.
Divorced.
Well, you're divorced.
Gal.
Divorced.
Yeah. You just have to think about The Departed.
The
And
Departed.
that's how you get yourself into the Boston accent, is you go, The Departed.
The divorce girl.
Yeah.
At work, I work with a guy with a really, really heavy Boston accent, and he works in a different office than me, but we have to talk on the phone every day, multiple times a day, and sometimes I call him just because I like the accent.
I had
Sometimes I'll be like, hey, Mike, what's the status of truck 18 or whatever, and he'll be like, yeah, it's good, it's looking real good. And I'm like,
That's good.
Thanks, Mike.
You could also get yourself into the headspace by thinking of that scene in Good Will Hunting where he says the names of all his brothers. He's like Maki, Bobby, Donnie, Joey. That's a good
I've
one.
never seen that.
It's
God and wide.
like pretty, but it's not great. It's okay. It has a lot of Elliott Smith songs in it. Yeah, it's no.
You
Actually,
love
you know
that
what?
kind of
It's a
thing,
nice
Dylan.
movie. It's a good movie. It's good. I like that movie. He does math. There's an interesting conversation about Ted Kaczynski in that movie. Not a lot of people know this.
Todd Kaczynski. Mike Wazowski.
I worked with a guy from Boston. He was a teacher at a school I worked at, and for the first year of me working there, I didn't know he was from Boston, and I thought he had a mild hearing impairment. I just thought he was a little deaf, and
It's a beautiful accent.
No, I dated someone from Boston for a long time. He didn't have much of that accent, but when he talked to his mother on the phone, he'd be like, "Ma, ma, ma." It was awful. Okay, Mary Pinchot Meyer. Her ex-husband, she was a divorced gal, having a good time painting, doing her paintings, sleeping with JFK. But before that, she's married to this guy named Cord Meyer. He's pretty well-known fellow. He was a soldier. He was a CIA operative. At least a couple muckrakers have accused him of possibly being involved in JFK's assassination. Later, a little later. Because he was a spook. He was interested in world government. He started some kind of foundation. I don't remember what it's called.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you speak Esperanto?
Oh, yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. He might have... You know what? I bet he did. Yes. Is he? Yes. He spoke Esperanto. So, Mary and Cord, when they were still married, were next-door neighbors with JFK and Jackie before he was president. She and Jackie would, go on little ladies' walks, when they were married gals. Mary was she's kind of a blue blood. She ran in similar circles to the Kennedys. They knew a lot of the same people. She'd actually met him at a high school dance at Choate. Is that how you say the name of that school? It's a really fancy boarding school like Exeter.
Choate.
It looks... Is it Choate? Is it just Choate?
Choate. I don't know.
Do you know what I'm talking about? It's spelled Choate.
Yeah, Choate.
Talking
I don't
about
know how
the
you pronounce it.
Point Break accent.
Choate.
I don't know, a prep school. Choate Rosemary Hall.
Choate Rosemary Hall.
The Choate School. Anyway, they went to fancy school together. No, they didn't go to the same school. One of them went to Choate. She went to Choate. She met him at a dance. I think it was if you go to a boys' school, the girls go to a girls' school. They have mixers, people to feel each other up under those puffy ass dresses.
Boys go to Choate. The girls go to St. Mary of the Woods. We all know how it goes.
Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah, it's just like Wabash College over there. We know what they're up to.
Oh yeah, we know what they're doing over there. Sorry again, not emotional. But Mary was even though she's kind of a rich kid, or maybe not even though, but in a very normal way, she was interested in communism. Sort of vaguely left wing, probably made daddy angry. She and her husband were later both investigated by McCarthy for possible communist sympathies. I think her husband was actually formally accused, and Alan Dulles, CIA guy, was no. He's cool. He's good. He's fine.
Of Washington Dulles
Of Washington Dulles International Airport, yeah.
Oh my God.
Dulles himself.
It's a bad airport.
Yeah, it sucks. Awful.
It really is.
It's really one of the worst.
Fucking just fly into Baltimore, Washington International.
Baltimore,
if you have to,
BWI
seriously.
is so much more chill.
Fucking
So
go to
much
BWI
better.
and take a train or whatever.
But
I'm not even
you
kidding.
can't get direct flights from BWI to Indianapolis. Or you couldn't. Maybe you can now. I don't remember.
I think you
Anyway,
can.
Maybe you can now. BWI is
Take the light rail.
Take the fucking light rail.
Much better
Please do yourself a flavor and fly
yourself a flavor.
to BWI.
Yeah, because you have to get through DC traffic, and then you have to you have to drive by the Pentagon. Who wants to do that? Horrible. Okay. So she and Cord Meyer were pacifist, again, world government. The communist stuff is you can't prove it, they definitely were not party members. Whether or not they secretly had communist sympathies, I don't know. After they got divorced, Mary she was I'm going to paint again. She had an art studio in the garage of her sister. Her sister was married to Ben Bradley, who was the head of the Washington Post. He's like the guy who broke Watergate. He's a big deal. Famous journalist. And a lot of the information about her and her personal life comes from Ben Bradlee in his book. So, she was hanging out with RFK because he had moved into JFK's old house once JFK became president. And then he was like, let me introduce you to my brother again, or something like that. She and JFK had an affair. By then he's the president, so she's like getting snuck into the White House. They're having secret rendezvous and trysts in various locales, probably like up at the Cape, down by the harbor, like that sort of thing. Apparently their affair was pretty serious. He was like, that guy was a horn dog. He was getting around, probably sleeping with tons of gals, but they had like an intellectual connection. They probably smoked a lot of weed together. She apparently influenced some of his views, his more like progressive politics, his thoughts on nuclear disarmament, possibly his feelings towards Cuba. She was like, hey man, chill out. But let me tell you something, is that this information comes from Timothy Leary, who apparently was a good friend of hers.
What the fuck?
But also had like acid brain, so who's to say, like, Timothy Leary also was like, she got JFK to drop acid, and other people are like, he just said shit. So, hard to say. Anyway, their affair was still going on when JFK was assassinated. A little less than a year after that, she's taking her daily walk along the canal in D.C. It's like her regular, known thing. The Chesapeake and Ohio Canal towpath. And she is shot to death twice at point blank range.
Oh my God.
There is a lot of to-do about her death. It's very confusing. A guy was accused. There was apparently a witness, a mechanic, who saw a black man in a light jacket and dark slacks standing over the body of a white woman. This is like, it's not sounding good, right? It's like, whoa, what is this? And does it kind of sound like maybe it was made up? I would say so. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, they found a guy kind of nearby who was all wet, and he was not running away. He was just like walking. They arrested him for being close and black. They had a whole trial. There was no forensic evidence against him whatsoever. They never could like find the gun, anything like that. Very messy shit. She bled a lot from her head wound. He didn't have any blood on him. It kind of sounds like a frame job, no?
Yeah, like probably the Secret Service killed her, and then they blame the first person they saw finding the body.
Now, why would you say that? Come on, Dylan. Our Secret Service.
I'm just saying, Nixon would never.
She didn't have any ID on her when she was killed, so it took a while to officially identify the body. All of the first reports were just a woman. Depending on who you ask, a CIA agent who turned up at the scene may have called a few people and said Mary Pinchot Meyer died. One of the people who said this is Ben Bradlee. This is suspicious, obviously, because it's well, how the fuck do you know who she is?
How do you know?
Yeah, right.
She didn't have ID on her.
Yeah. And if the guy who broke Watergate is hey, this is what they told me, I do tend to be yeah, he probably remembers that correctly.
Yeah.
Also, this is his sister-in-law. I know, Dylan, you don't believe in in-laws, but
I just don't think that they can count as a relative for the purposes of murder evidence.
Okay, fair enough. She had a diary. This became a big, after she died, this is the subject of several conflicting stories. Ben Bradlee, again, says he and his wife, her sister, were they found the diary because it was in her art studio at their house. They read it. They were I don't know if maybe they didn't know she was having an affair. I think they found out from reading this diary. They were we're not going to turn this over. We're not going to cause a huge scandal. He's dead. She's dead. Whatever. One day they come home and they find James Angleton, who is the head of counterintelligence for the CIA, picking a lock to the studio, apparently trying to find the diary.
Oh my god.
Whoa.
So why would the guy fully fucking in charge of spies be looking for this diary? Seems a little suspicious. It was destroyed.
Why would he do it himself?
Because it was a big fucking deal to them.
I guess. And this is like back when like only like 6 guys worked in the CIA or whatever.
Yeah. One of them being her ex-husband.
The Cold War, you know, of course, when there were only 5 or 6 guys in the DC office of the CIA. No, I'm just like, that's so weird. Why would it be
this particular guy? Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, hire like a rando, you know?
Yeah. No, it was like a job that I think they wanted done right. But even that guy fucked up. So anyway, I just want to recap. That's all the dead and maimed women. But I just wanted to point out something that I think is interesting, which is these women are named Mary Jo, Rosemary, Marilyn, Mary, and Mary. Now,
Wait.
You can say that's like the most common name, you know, for women, especially 50s, 60s, what have you. But I'm just saying that's a lot of women named Mary or some derivation thereof.
There's not even one Susan in there.
And their mom's name is Mary, right?
Mommy issues?
Okay, first of all of these women accidentally died.
Well, Rosemary didn't even die. Maimed. She's why I'm adding maimed.
She accidentally maimed, and then
I just told you that Mary Pinchot-Meyer was shot at point-blank range.
Well, we don't know who did it.
We don't know who did it, but she's definitely murdered. Fully killed.
Accidentally killed. It could have been like a accident.
How?
Some local boys messing around with a gun in the park.
Some local boys. All right. On a footpath.
What about a drifter? So it's always a drifter.
They let that guy go eventually after like a horrible, arduous trial, and they were like, never set foot in D.C. again, even though he had 6 underage children in D.C.
What the fuck?
Thank you, U.S. government.
They're like, we can't prove that you murdered this lady because you are probably being set up, but you got to take your kids and leave D.C.
Yeah, I don't know.
So fucked up.
Yeah, not good.
DC sucks anyway.
DC sucks.
He's better off.
It's washed. Sucks.
I love DC actually, kind of, but
there's nice parks. It's cool that the museums are free.
I would not want to live in DC.
I would never want to live there.
But at what cost?
At what cost? At the cost of like, you cannot fucking swing a dead cat without meeting some absolute psycho who's like,
everyone works for the government,
trying to become the president.
Also, it's not easy to bike around. No. The traffic's crazy.
Also, not even trying to become the president, but trying to become like a sniveling little, like, you know, everyone wants to be like somebody's Renfield, which is disgusting. Like, they're interested in proximity to power. Sickos.
It is pretty wild that like everybody is like, it's like, you know, like the Bay Area is like 20-something tech people that are like obnoxious. It's like that, but they work for like Lockheed Martin. It's just like, it's like crazy.
I met a couple of people. I would like meet people, you know, at some kind of broad social event, and they would be like, "Oh yeah, I work for ICE." I'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like,
that's insane.
Yeah. Or
that's
just like, or I work for I did meet for someone. I met someone who worked for I used to pass this place all the time. It's by BWI. It's like Grunning.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Grumman,
something Grumman. What's that called?
Is it their like war crime division?
Yeah. Yes. God, I can't remember. But you know,
they do crazy shit.
Yeah, it's like weapons development. I mean, that kind of happens here because sometimes you meet people who work at Crane, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
So you like make horrifying guns. You make fucking drones that kill children. Okay.
Northrop Grumman.
Northrop Grumman, thank you. Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
I think that only happened once.
They do all kinds of stuff.
But I was like, well, okay. And why do you do that?
And what products
they say they're aerospace, but also defense technology. See, we got to defund NASA. We shouldn't be going to space. The companies that make stuff for space stuff also make stuff for killing people.
You know damn well that NASA and Northrop Grumman are distinct entities, and one is for scientific learning.
Yeah, which is how you figure out how to make the atom bomb.
You're just scared that they're not going to find heaven with the new telescope. So you want that whole thing shut down. I know you.
I'm up there in my telescope looking for heaven. I'm gonna find it.
You guess what? You guess what? They ain't gonna find it, I doubt.
I'm up there looking for that glimmer of the pearly gates.
Unless you reconceptualize what heaven is to you.
Already done. Space, fuck space. I don't want to know what's going on up there. Disgusting.
They make IBIX.
What?
Integrated Air and Missile Defense Battle Command Systems.
Oh, the thing where you can pretend that it's a video game, but actually you're blowing away children in Iraq or whatever?
Yeah, it keeps us safe.
Here's my conspiracy theory. You want to hear a conspiracy theory I have? The reason why we've so publicly sanctioned like video games is that we're training the next generation of drone soldiers.
Well, duh.
Yeah, duh.
Okay.
Like
we've been
literally some of those games take money from the Defense Department.
Yeah, totally.
Like some of those like combat-y shooters, like it's not
so
Arma.
You're saying
Is it
when
Arma?
I play
think
Animal
Arma.
Crossing that I'm training to give a child in Iraq a letter written by a cat?
You're saying my 2,400 hours in Europa Universalis 4 have prepared me to kill people on the other side of the world?
Well, the like commonplace conspiracy theory, right, is like, oh, it's just like military propaganda so that people will want to join the army. And like maybe that's part of it, but isn't it also like esports being widely accepted is just like a way for it to be like socially sanctioned that like you should spend your time playing video games so you could have really good reflexes and like drop the bomb better?
I mean, I think the popularity of video games cannot be attributed to like any government military conspiracies. I think that they just made TV better.
It's because we live in the decadent West.
They invented a better version of TV and movies.
Oh, God.
So, but,
the game?
Yeah, video games.
I can't believe people watch those cutscenes. I'm like smashing all the buttons trying to get it to move
Anytime
along.
I've ever played a video game, I've been like, why would I care about the story?
I can't watch those things. It pains me.
I do also share
the same. I do
the same.
Delivering the letter to the cat.
I do share that too, where I'm like, I'll start a game and they'll try to like put a story in there. Although really, that is just like some games have gotten better at it, but like they have got to start hiring like fucking writers,
actual writers.
I like actual writers to do this stuff because it is painful sometimes.
I mean, it makes sense that you would skip those because you also do not like movies.
That's true.
Like, why would you want a video game to be more like a movie, something you don't enjoy?
I like my video games to be the most like spreadsheets, but with sometimes pictures.
Nice, beautiful. This is coming from the Dwarf Fortress man.
Exactly. Dwarf Fortress is essentially like the world's most complicated spreadsheet.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, that's all I got on the Kennedys. Anyone else have anything else on the Kennedys? Kennedy's innocent.
Taylor Swift had a summer
Kennedy.
fling with Connor Kennedy and even purchased a home in Cape Cod on the same street as the Kennedys.
On Cape Cod? Isn't that on? Are you on Cape Cod?
In Cape Cod, on it? I don't know. Who cares?
I believe you're on it. It's like when you stand online.
Oh, God, is that where that's from?
No, that's from Ellis Island. Well, people say it's from Ellis Island, but I think that's maybe made up. It sounds fucking fake to me.
What? This saying online?
Because when you immigrated at Ellis Island, there was like a physical painted line on the ground that people waited on. But like, were people going around talking about the line at Ellis Island a lot, enough that it was incorporated into everyday New York vocabulary such that anytime anyone stands in a line, they say online instead? I think it's probably just an ancestral
memory. Yeah, it's a sense memory. But I remember, and it brings them back to a place.
Sarah, they're ethnically online.
So when that incredibly bougie woman outside of Malibu Grill asked me when I was being a shithead teen and just standing around on Walnut, if I was online, she was accessing her ancestral memory of like Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
No, she's accessing her ancestral memory of arriving in the United States and being told to wait on the line.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like 2005.
Are you mad at a woman who just asked you if you were in line at a restaurant?
She was in fucking Bloomington, Indiana, and she was like,
"Oh my God,
excuse me, are you online?" And I didn't know what she was talking about because
that's fine. She was just like, hey.
No, she was like
polite.
snooty. She was snooty.
You can't be mad at her. She was being polite.
I think she knew that I wasn't in the line, and she didn't like that I was loitering teenagely near her. And I really did not know what she was talking about. I was like,
I don't know
am I on a computer here on Kirkwood and Walnut? Fucking going to Malibu Grill. I just got food poisoning. No, Sarah, no. That's horrible.
I've been to Malibu Grill once, and I really like the chicken.
I've never been to Malibu Grill in my whole life. But you know who apparently loves Malibu Grill is Mr. John Cougar Mellencamp.
I've never been to Malibu Grill. If we're keeping score.
Yeah, we are keeping score. Hey, listener, have you ever been to Malibu Grill?
Have you been to Malibu Grill? Also, I retract what I said in our last episode. It's a Patreon episode, but we talked with the Kennedys. I was just really confused about all of the Kennedys.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about the plane crash, which is like an interesting one.
But JFK Jr. definitely killed himself on accident. He definitely crashed a plane, killing himself and his fiance and his friend out of sheer negligence because he was a rich boy. And that's made me sad because I sort of was imagining him. I was sort of venerating him. I was like, if only he'd lived, he could have changed so much, but he was just an idiot.
I disagree.
Is that not because you got him confused with Robert F. Kennedy?
Well, then I looked into Robert F. Kennedy, and so Robert F. Kennedy, he did something bad tonight. All the Kennedys rolled in my mind.
Oh my God! Tonight,
well, they were all
bad?
horn dogs. They all cheated on their wives, allegedly, but if we're talking in terms of like grand scope of like, could they have done positive things for the American political landscape? This is what everyone says about RFK, is he was going to be like the civil rights president. He was like extremely progressive and would have done all these things. But it's like easy to say that about someone who died. Like people would have said that about Obama if he had died before he became president, and everyone was like, oh, this is disappointing, you know? So who's to say? But that is what people say about him.
I mean, free Sirhan Sirhan, you know, right?
I'm asking, was he involved with Marilyn Monroe? That was JFK.
JFK and Marilyn Monroe, right? definitely probably had an affair. RFK and Marilyn Monroe probably also had an affair after. I think it was like a sloppy seconds type situation. Possibly not for the first time. That may have been kind of like their arrangement, which is tawdry and disgusting. The part about him maybe being involved in her death is like much more nebulous. So I don't know. But they were very, very ambitious people. I will say that.
Who was the time, honestly?
To murder?
No, to have so much ambition and to do so much harm along the way.
I think people who were like severely abused as children by their father, who said, you will all be politicians. And they were like, okay.
Oh.
And yeah.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
That's like the sense that I get. They were basically like stage children, but for American politics. But it's interesting that all the Kennedys, like many of the like second, third, fourth generation of Kennedys are also politicians.
Do you think that we just needed our own like royals? Do you think we missed the drama that they had? Like we got jealous of England's sort of like shit going on, and we just
do you think that we'd have less like internet celebrity culture here if we had a royal family?
I don't. I don't know. Maybe
they do it too, though.
But in the UK, we don't care about them. We don't care about the like celebrities.
Pop it,
that's because there's like 11 people in England. Yeah. There's like so many more of us, you know, than people in England. And their press is also famously horrible to people. Just like say like awful, awful things about people constantly. I do like that on the Wikipedia article for like various Kennedy wives and mothers, you know, like JFK and RFK and all of them's mom. They don't have, you know, like the Wikipedia stub that says like your birthday and who you're married to. It doesn't say children, it says issue, which is what like royal children are.
Yeah.
You know, like Queen Elizabeth's children are her issue, her royal issue. I thought that was like a nice touch.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Do you think Sirhan Sirhan did it?
Like, did he physically do it? Maybe.
Was he influenced, perhaps?
I don't think it was really as presented.
Yeah.
I think that there was some other shit going on and that maybe it wasn't him.
I've not looked very extensively into the RFK assassination, but of course I'm open to the possibility that he was more than just regular assassinated. And certainly JFK, like, something is fucking up there.
Yeah. I think that they're great, though. I mean, who's the next? I'm excited for this new Kennedy. It's cool that he's like an independent.
Do you mean Robert
Bobby
F.
Kennedy?
Bobby
yeah,
Jr.
he seems like, I'm
Bobby
really
Jr.
excited for him. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Bobby
Yeah,
Jr. thinks that Sirhan Sirhan didn't kill his father.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but like,
he's got a great head on his shoulders. And he's going to be the great next president. And he's definitely not super insane.
he's definitely not like a crazy person with an insane voice. I know he has a disorder, it's not his fault, but like, it does sound crazy. Like, it's not very presidential.
Why
Sorry,
is Cheryl Hines with him?
Maybe she sucks. I don't know. Why do people like her?
I wish Nixon had kids that ran for president. Dude, I love Nixon so much.
Just sweaty little girls and boys. You love Nixon so much.
Yeah, he's like my favorite president.
What do you like about him? I do like on the Watergate tapes when he's like talking shit about people. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, he's the only smart president. Every other president was stupid.
Yeah. Wait, did he what? Is he?
He did like environmental stuff.
Nixon?
Yeah, he did really good. No, he did. He did good environmental
did he do
stuff.
Parks
I'm not
shit?
saying that he did something good. I'm just saying he did something
He did really
environmental.
good environmental stuff.
No. I'm not like doubting you. I'm just like, I've never heard this before. Did he do park shit or was that somebody else?
I think his contributions to the environment were overshadowed by other things.
Yeah. Like him doing crimes constantly.
You ever heard of One Small Step for Man?
Yeah.
One Giant Leap for Mankind? Yeah, he did that.
He went to space.
It was his responsibility to make sure those boys came home safe, and gosh dang it, they did.
He started the EPA.
Yeah.
Really? That's interesting.
He's from Yorba Linda, California. What's not to like?
Let me tell you something. Sirhan Sirhan is kind of hot.
Sirhan Sirhan.
He's
a cute. Yeah, he's a cutie.
Sirhan
like,
Sirhan innocent.
Yeah, you think he was like at the very least a patsy, right? If
yeah, and even so, just let him go, man.
Look at him like this is him.
Yeah.
Probably after he got arrested, his face is like a little
really,
cut up.
He's so cute.
He looks like he could be nursed back to health. Is all I'm saying. by a loving woman, I'm respectfully saying he looks like it would be so nice to dab his wounds with a little bit of gauze. I'm like, oh, sweetheart. I don't know. Maybe he did something horrible, but maybe he didn't.
I'm just saying, nothing Nixon ever did was like something that wouldn't be like allowed on Survivor. You know, like it was illegal.
Fraud.
Sure, yeah, it was a little bit of shenanigans, but like it was like scandalous. It was fun.
I would say trying to like
not breaking the rules,
overthrow the very fabric of our Constitution by committing election fraud is like maybe not a great thing for a president to do.
He did a little break-in. He wanted some internal polling numbers, whatever. It's just like it's like when the like somebody finds the immunity idol and then another player like notices it in their stuff and steals it so they can't play it at tribal council.
Right.
It's like that level of fraud, you know? It's like fun and scandalous.
I think Sirhan Sirhan didn't do it because he's so cute.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I think he didn't do it too. I like guys who have two of the same name a lot.
Like
too.
Boutros Ghali.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them in hockey.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, that's right. What's that one guy's name you like who's like Swedish?
Oh, oh man.
I don't know.
Like,
no. Please don't start.
There's a. I'm just like
That
I just
one
mean
guy.
there's a guy named Martel,
Mm-mm.
and then there's a guy named Ivan.
No.
Wow.
Truth.
Are any of them as cute as Sirhan Sirhan?
No, nobody in hockey is as cute as Sirhan Sirhan.
Ivan.
Yeah.
That is a real guy?
Uh-huh. Yeah, he played at the World Juniors last year, I think. I don't know if he's going to make it.
If he's cute. I can't tell. He says that was this hockey shit on his face. No, he kind of looks like a.
He's not supposed
shooter.
to be cute. He's supposed to have the name Ivan 3 times.
His neck
in a
is
row.
the same width as his head.
respect it, you know?
What is on his face? Did he get a puck to the mouth?
Wound. He has stitches. Those are stitches.
That's so sad.
That'll probably look hot after they are like less gnarly, like when it's just a like a nice pink scar on his lip. That'll look good. But it won't change the fact that his neck and his head are the same width.
Yeah.
Man, there's nothing like hockey players. They don't make them. They don't get the makeover that other athletes seem to get.
I don't know. Some of them are so beautiful.
No way.
That's because they get helmets. They get to wear helmets, you know.
They get to wear. It's so nice that they let them wear helmets in the sport with blades on everyone's feet and also concussions all the time. Anyway.
It took them long enough.
Oh yeah, when did they start making them wear helmets?
Technically 1979, but they did a grandfather clause where as long as you started playing before 1979, you could not wear a helmet if you didn't want to. So there were guys without helmets until like the late 90s, like 97, 96, 97.
You know, should have worn a helmet.
And this all started because of an
RFK.
Internal review. A guy got hit in the head.
JFK.
A guy got hit in the head with a puck and died on the ice in 1969.
That's horrible.
And then it took them 10 years to decide whether they should make helmets mandatory after a guy got hit in the head and died during a game.
Well, yeah, there were complicating factors.
Yeah. And then after that, they decided to still go...
have cool hair.
I just like that, like, the guy got... The actual, like, incident that started it happened in 1969, and then finally it was all finally resolved in 1998.
Yeah.
Like, that's an insane... Yeah.
Things move a little slower around here.
That's right.
All right, listener, was Sirhan Sirhan really hypnotized? Who shot JFK?
And RFK.
And RFK. What do you think all the Mary business is about?
Anything weird that's happened to you, especially if it's supernatural, we'd love to hear about it. Call us, 706-45-BIMBO.
Yeah. Give us a call. Tell us what you know. Wait, is this episode 100?
5, boom, boom.
99?
No, this is 99.
99, coming up on it.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen? Are you all excited?
Are you excited for the big reveal that we have planned?
That we definitely have planned. That's fully planned.
We've got a big surprise for you folks.
Episode.
It's huge.
You are gonna fucking lose it. I'm so jealous of you because you get to find out about it.
Yeah. It must be
nice.
nice.
I already know. Yeah.
Okay. Even though the gods are crazy.
Even though the stars are blind.
Really nice guy, Ted Kennedy. I remember meeting him fondly. He had a very firm handshake. Yeah, honestly, like, what a sad story. They really are America's family, and just God bless them. Can't wait for our next Kennedy. Go Colts.
Coming soon, our 100th episode.
Listen, I'm not sorry. I know that y'all think we fell off. I know that y'all think we ain't about it anymore and that we got old, and I'm not sorry. I don't give a shit what you think, because we're back for the 100th episode.
Dylan, this isn't Halloween themed.
Yeah, boo.
We're popping out of graves. I know you guys want to burn us like Frankenstein, or you want to burn us like the Mummy, or you want to burn us like Dracula because you hate us. But guess what? We're back and we're 100.
I don't think this is a good strategy for an ad advertising our 100th episode.
You never cared about us, and we don't care about you. And if one more of you DMs me to say we fell off, I'm going to go Frankenstein on your ass.
Dylan, I think you should just tell them to call in and leave a voicemail that we can plan our 100th episode.
Yeah, and tell them that when they call in, they're automatically entered into a raffle to win amazing prizes.
Like, maybe you should tell them about some of the prompts they can call in about. Prompts like,
what's your idea for a piece of public art?
Or like, do you feel the call of the sea?
Do you understand nuance?
Like, if I was your best friend, would you betray me?
No. Like, if you see a cone, do you leave it alone?
Yeah, like, what's your biggest fear?
Have you been DMing me telling me that I fell off?
No, like, what kind of magical thinking do you believe in?
Can lakes hold a grudge?
Yeah, how many other small podcasts have you stabbed in the back?
Or anything else you want to call in about?
Go ahead.
Yeah, give us a call at 706-405-BIMBO.
Yeah, go ahead and call us. Fucking do it. Fucking call us at 706-405-BIMBO. I dare you.
Yeah, I dare you.
Or this episode, 100th episode, might be our final episode. It might be the 100th year of torture that you've put us through.
Dylan, I don't think people are going to call in if you just insult them the whole time.
You want to burn us like you burned the mummy. Ring, ring.